every uncharitable word. All these things really, really matter. Okay? But she told me all of my sins, all the different varieties. Okay? I know every time I say this, I get a whole bunch of people coming and confessing their sins of the tongue. So I thought, maybe I should emphasize sins of the feet. Oh, when we walk, I don't know, now people are confessing sins of their feet. When we make the effort to go and be a nuisance and go and sin. Okay? But anyway, all of these things really mattered, and she told me every single one. When she finished, she said, "You are happy because you've seen me." And I said, "Yes, I'm very happy. Who are you?" And she said, "I am your mother, the mother of God. I want you to tell everyone you meet that I am their mother and that I love them." So I realized, okay, so it's the young girl up there, and she's identified herself as the mother of God and my mother. Now, when she spoke, she made me feel everything she meant. So when she said that I am your mother, that I'm their mother, she meant as though she had a claim on every single one of you. Every single one of you. Almost like we had cost her something. And then when she said that I loved them, she hugged my soul to show me how. And really, how she loves you is she looks at all of you individually. She looks at you like you're the only person in the whole universe. And she looks at you like you are marvelous, like you are utterly beautiful. This is how she looks at you, okay? And that you are wonderful. Now, I remember thinking, even at that time, I was thinking, I'm not marvelous. But there's no point fighting her. She looks at you like this, you can't fight her. Do not. It's a waste of time, as I discovered. Right? And then she said to me, "Do not begin to imagine you deserve to see me. God gives grace as he chooses." So right at the beginning she said, "Don't worry about it. You don't deserve this." Then I said to her, because I wanted to see her again, I said, "Blessed Mother, I'd very much like to die now. Okay, and she said, yes, I think here only Connor knows. I'm sorry, but keep it to yourself. So when I said that, she said, "Would you not like to live a bit longer to help me?" And when she said a bit longer, she made it clear that she meant anything from 9 days to 90 years. So I don't think I was being given a real choice, but because I was young and stupid, younger and stupider, I said to her very reluctantly, I said, "All right then, but you'd better make sure it's worth my while." When I said that, she laughed. She had a beautiful laugh. And when she laughed, I thought, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Okay, because after that point, she took control of the whole conversation, like a mother with an idiotic child. Sorry, I didn't mean to glance at you accidentally when I said that. Oh, I didn't slip. Where's your mom? Oh, sorry. Oh, no, you're looking at me like, yeah, no, exactly, Father, just like that. Okay. So, I have to admit, you have no desire to ask her anything frivolous. Before this conversation, I would have thought, well, if someone told me you're going to talk to the Mother of God, I would have thought I have so many questions for her, like, are there UFOs, are there aliens, who killed John F. Kennedy, is Elvis still alive, the royal family, are they alien lizards, things like this. I want to know, right? I'm curious. But when I was talking to her, you have no desire to ask anything like that. And also, you can't ask her stupid things. Okay? Then, I told her all of my problems. And she said to me, she told me to give my heart to Jesus, to pray with a firm faith, and to surrender my life to Jesus. Okay? To give my heart to Jesus, to pray with a firm faith, and to surrender my life to Jesus. She never told me to priest, she never talked about a vocation. She said to me, early in the conversation, she said, the day will come when you will regret ever having seen me. And I said, no, this is the best day of my life. And she said, the day will come when you will deny ever having seen me. So when she said this, I thought this sounds too much like the prediction of Peter's denial. So good rule of thumb is, remember, quit while you're behind, right? So I didn't protest. So all of this came true just as she said. Within 5 years of this, I was at medical school in England, and I said to her, I wish I'd never seen you. Mostly because I thought seeing her made me a freak, and also I had not done anything she asked me to do at that stage. And as for deny seeing her, in England, lots of people make fun of Medjugorje. They say, make a forgery instead of Medjugorje, make a forgery. And I also, because I was a Judas, I laughed. I was a coward, so I laughed with them. I didn't dare stand up and tell them the truth that I believed in Medjugorje. And that it had done me so much good, all the good ever, really, in my life. She asked me if I was willing to suffer. I said yes, and then she told me where my greatest suffering would come from. And it was at this point where she also showed me a few visions of the future. The only one I remember is this. She showed me a vision of the church in the future. Well, in the future back then, in 1991, it was the future. Okay. And it was almost every Catholic in the world would turn their backs on Jesus. They would be ashamed of his words. They would act like something he had said, he had not said. You know, and they would just say, oh, it doesn't apply to our times. Did he really say that? No, I'm not sure, and blah, blah, blah. And we're all modern and advanced, and we're in this new era, and we've discovered all these wonderful new truths about ourselves. That sort of language, okay? And when she showed it to me, actually it was frightening. It was so frightening, it was so awful. And I asked her for a great favor, which is I asked her to take my parents before this time, that they should die before this comes. My parents are still alive, but only just. And they don't know this story, so don't tell them. You can imagine, Indian parents won't be happy. Like, you saw the Mother of God, and you prayed for us to die. What? What kind of son are you? You know, they won't be happy. Sorry, I must apologize for my Indian accent. I have to work on it. Okay, and then, I'm trying to remember. Oh, the other things about the future I don't remember. She told me I would forget. I said, no, I'm not going to forget. And then immediately after the conversation, I forgot. Okay? All I remember is how I felt. And the other things are all beautiful, wonderful things about the church and the world. A very different future is the only way I can describe it. Okay? But I'll say this. I don't remember, you know, in 1991, there were no mobile phones. I don't think the internet didn't really exist. None of us had access to it. And I'd say this actually, I think the future involves an absence of these things. Okay? I don't know how to describe it to you. Because never mind. I don't remember, I just remember how I felt. But it's like human beings would choose to live simply. Families would be strong again. Marriages would be very strong. The sin of adultery would be unknown. You know, things like that. It's that sort of image of the world. There'd be only one church. I don't. This is me kind of theorizing. I'm trying to guess what would have made me that happy. But I don't remember. I don't remember what she said. Okay? And then she told me not to go looking for her, but that she would come for me when I'm dying. And then the conversation ended. It felt like we had spoken for 4 hours, 4 very beautiful hours. We spoke about many things. She did most of the talking. And on my watch, it was 20 minutes. Okay? 20 minutes. It was a bit like Narnia. You know? Time moves at a different speed, I think. And then, that's it really. Okay, when I was speaking in America, I was speaking to these nine-year-old kids. They came up with lots of good questions, actually. One of them said, have you ever seen her again? And actually, the truth is, I have seen her again, twice. 2 more times, right? Both of them not... one was, I was with a Monsignor. He said, what did this light look like? And I pointed to the middle of a mountain, and there she was. It was the same young girl standing there. And he went very quiet and never spoke again that trip. That was the Monsignor. And then the last time, the third and last time, was here on Apparition Hill just 6 or 7 years ago. I was there at night for an apparition with Eva, and at the end of the apparition I saw her again, the same young girl made of orange golden light, rising up. And I was trying to get everyone's attention, but no one would look. And they all said, "Shh, keep quiet, you're disturbing everyone," you know. So no one would look. It was one of those things, you know. It's like being, those of you old enough to remember the old episodes of Sesame Street, you know, Big Bird. No one ever believes Big Bird about Mr. Snuffleupagus, you know. It was like that. It's like, look, you know, but no one would look. You know. Anyway, these days I think everyone does see Mr. Snuffleupagus. But that's just me. Okay. Anyway, coming on from that, moving swiftly on. How am I doing for time? Ooh, it's slow. Perfect. Now this is the third part of the talk, and this is the most important. This is what I really want to talk about, and it is about the 5 stones of Medjugorje. These are Our Lady's messages here, distilled into 5 bullet points. They are, number 1, pray with the heart. Molite srcem. This means, literally, it means pray using the heart as a tool, as an instrument. Pray through the heart, pray by means of the heart. What does this mean? I often think about, you know, when we apologize, when we use the word sorry. I think, you know, in England we are masters of passive aggression. So if someone steps on my foot or bumps into me, I turn to them and I say, sorry, meaning, get off my foot, you idiot. Yes? Or you think about a politician who's been caught getting up to hanky-panky, you know, and he or she says, I'm sorry for the distress this has caused my family and constituents, meaning, I'm sorry I got caught. I wish I could get away with it and carry on having my fun, right? Okay. When a small child says sorry, what do? They cry. They cry. Why do they cry? Because it comes from their heart. They actually mean it. They haven't become jaded and cynical like the rest of us. They actually mean what they say for the most part. Okay? So when Our Lady says pray with the heart, this is what she means. Pray and let it come from the center of your being. Mean it. Now, when we pray, we often feel like we have to pray for high-minded things. You know, so we pray, Lord, let there be world peace and give food to the hungry, etc. Okay. Whereas in our hearts, what we want to say is, Lord, I am miserable in my job. My boss is so mean. I don't really like my colleagues either. Can I have another job? Okay. And that's what we should pray for. We should pray for what's in our hearts. And then God shows us how to pray. He purifies our prayer. Now, do you have distractions during prayer? All of you? Yes. Yes? Okay, I'm going to suggest to you, we have distractions because we are not praying from the heart. Okay, imagine a typical scenario. You're in church, getting ready for Mass, and this gentleman comes, he kneels in the pew.